Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. Let's sip some tea and speak about life. Let's gossip. Let's get the girls together. The girls, the guys, the girls, okay? I am in such an interesting space right now. I just don't even know what to do with myself. And I don't know if it is the discourse within the world, the social political context. Life is a lifing over here. And sometimes in a good way, in a positive way, but it feels like something bigger is coming, and it's really hard to navigate these feelings of unknown, these feelings of unsettledness, displacement, um, you know, our standing within the world, and that's individually, but also collectively within our individual societies. When we think of everything that is going on um, in the political arena. So, yes, I am in a space of wanting to build, wanting to grow, wanting to also rest, be settled, spend time with my children. I am just yearning for a different way of life. And in some ways, I think that that is right around the corner for most of us. But unfortunately, I think things will crumble before we are able to rebuild as a society and take things back to what maybe they should have always been. I'm not going to sit here and say, make America great again, make the UK great again, because we all know that there is nuance to that. From my own personal perspective and lived experience as a Black woman in the westernized culture and society. However, I do think that we are all in need of a more simplistic way of living, a more minimalist lifestyle. Um, Capitalism has for sure taken over in many, many ways, and it drives so much of our values, our actions, our day to day lives. Within my profession, I consider occupations, and by that, that is just essentially anything that we need, want, or have to do, all of the things that we do in our day to day. And whilst I don't want this to be a academic lecture, I just feel that it's not possible for me to see the state of the world without looking at it through the lens in which and how it impacts us on a day-to-day level. Everything, absolutely everything that we do is influenced by the world around us, by each other. And I think, unfortunately, so many of us don't actually realize this. I have found myself in so many different conversations as of late about so many different things, and I am trying to figure out where I stand on so many different situations, circumstances. Now, ultimately, I am a person who values human life and freedom, liberties, democracy, inclusion. That is who I am as an individual. And so when I look around and watch the news, not really the news, but media, I understand that for me, this is a part of my overwhelm. This is a part of my confusion, this constant feeling of distractibility, this constant feeling of the unknown, this worry, this hypervigilance, this fear. I turned 35 years old this year, and I have children who are one who was on the verge of either starting mainstream school or not starting it. And this comes with so many concerns, so many fears, so many worries. It's hard to weigh up pros and cons when it doesn't really feel like there are many pros. And now, whilst I am an individual who is neurodivergent and who has had my own traumatic experiences, I also understand that it can't possibly be my context and my context alone that is adding to these concerns and these fears. The world is a shaky and currently just unexplainable place. We're in an unexplainable place, even though it's very clear how we got here, even though many of us could see the trajectory. It's almost shocking disbelief that we still managed to get here and that many people have not learned from the mistakes of our histories and our past. Shocking is probably me being quite generous. I think if we go back to Brexit, we could see exactly where, the general mindset of the United Kingdom was in terms of unity and inclusion and this world of diversity and sharing of resources and living amongst one another, etc., etc., etc. We could see from that, many of us could see from that point, just like I'm sure our American brothers and sisters could see the trajectory when Trump was elected, not once, but twice. And then there are the others who only see things when it starts to hit their pockets, who only care when they are impacted, who, as long as they can remain removed mentally, emotionally, psychologically removed from everything that goes on in this world, will not care, do not care. Very individualistic mindsets, very colonized mindsets, patriotic, shall we say. And so it's just very interesting to me the changing tides that seem to change on a weekly basis at this point here within the United Kingdom in terms of the different protests that we see happening, the different mindsets, the different views that people have, who people are supporting one week to the next. I feel that we're in a stage where people are trying to put themselves on the right side of history, but I almost feel like it's a little bit too late for that. Their actions, their choices, their rhetoric, their votes, it all has had an impact. And now they try to scramble back to the other side, claiming that they were lied to, claiming that they never knew what would happen. They didn't believe this was possible, even though so many of us told them, warned them. But when it didn't impact them, it didn't matter. And now it does. And everyone wants to switch sides. This world we live in, I was told this is human nature, but I don't believe that it is. I think there are many of us with compassion, with integrity, who are kind, who care about other human life. And then there are those who don't. And I think the saddest thing about this is that instead of taking responsibility for their actions, for their views, instead of acknowledging, you know what, maybe I was wrong, they shift the blame. Oh, the government said this. Oh, the government, specifically Trump, he's doing exactly what he said he would do. Right? All this anti-immigration rhetoric. Look at our higher education institutes. They're failing. Jobs aren't secure. We would be foolish to believe that they were. So we feel and find ourselves in this limbo, this waiting game, just waiting to see what will happen to us. Feeling a sense and a loss of control, powerlessness, unable to make decisions for our families. Truly, truly powerless to stop anything that is happening now that we found ourselves here in this situation with these leaders. I use that word loosely. But where do we go from here? What next? Maybe the world does need to fall. Maybe it needs to crumble. Maybe there needs to be a shift. I, for one, anticipate huge changes beyond the imagination of most, in terms of global superpowers, in terms of who that is, who will remain after all of this unnecessary, needless violence, division, war. Somehow I think we in the West, many of us will have a rude awakening that we could never have envisioned before this time. And perhaps that has to happen in order for true empathy. And let's just hope that if it does, people will have empathy, compassion, sympathy, understanding, and care towards us. Because that is much of what people are asking for and have been asking for. We all just wanted to be treated as humans, as equals, free to live our lives, to build with and for our families. That's all we all want. And maybe now, who knows, because none of us really know what is going to happen. But I can say that it feels very uncertain, unprecedented, and in a different way to the pandemic. I keep hearing this word, New World Order, this phrase, this term, New World Order, thrown around. And I mean, if you're in conspiracy circles, you may have heard that term long before this time. But it's so funny how so many conspiracies have turned out to be fact. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd love to know where you're at with this. It's something I'm thinking about a lot as I navigate life, motherhood, work, marriage, where we want to be, where we don't want to be, where is the safest place for us and our children. We have very small children, and it's scary to think what the world will be, what it will become. Wanting to protect them, provide for them, support them, and make sure that they have everything that they need educationally and beyond. I'm not sure that the mainstream school system can do that for us. And so we wait. So we wait. We wait, we find out, don't we? Or we take action, depending on the individual that you are and how much all of this means to you, or how far you've buried your head in the sand. I think it's time, as humanity seems to crumble all around us, that we come together and we find solutions that help all of us, not some of us. Solutions that uplift all of us, not some of us. I'd love to know your thoughts. If this resonates with you and you're in a similar space and you're thinking the same things and everyone around you is just business as usual, please leave a comment, like, subscribe to this channel, because I want to have many more conversations like this. They're so necessary, and I feel like not many people are having them. We're so distracted with work, with the cost of living crisis, with our day to day, that the world is crumbling around us, and we are so busy that we don't even have the time. So busy, so distracted by consumerism and capitalism and division and hate that we don't even see what is happening around us. We need to come together. We need to talk about it. We need to find solutions. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Stay regal in real life.